Welcome back. We are starting Chapter 6 of the Unpacking Old Luggage, the nutrition part. And today we're going to talk about fiber, water, and sleep. So fiber, water, and sleep actually play a huge role in how we deal with things in life, how we handle stress. Of course, it's going to play a role in our sickness, our health, how we handle our jobs at work. All of that kind of goes into play because fiber really helps out with our heart health and our gut health. So does water, and sleep has a lot of things to do with recovery of the body and being able to basically boost itself through the night and allow it to actually produce the growth hormone that we need for the metabolism to take place. So let's move right on into the first topic, fiber. Alright, let's break down the parts of a grain. You have bran and you have germ, which both hold the fighting capacities to fight off the diabetes, heart disease, cancer, and obesity. And in the middle part you have something called the endosperm, which is more the white part. This is where you get your white bread, your white rice. When you strip off the outer, the bran and the germ, you actually no longer have whole. It is now refined. So when you're looking at a food label, at the ingredients list, you should look for the keyword of whole if you're wanting the benefits of fighting off the 3 top diseases plus filling you up to prevent against obesity. If you're not looking for that and you don't really care about your health, then go for the refined. Of course, most of you definitely want to try to fight it off because those are the 3 top diseases in the U.S. that are related to diet and lifestyle. Fiber is found naturally in our God-made foods, from whole wheat to bran to fresh or dried fruits and our vegetables. Now there are 2 types of fiber, soluble and insoluble. The soluble fibers on the left-hand side are known to protect against diabetes and heart disease. Those are like your nuts, your seeds, your beans, lentils, your fruits like your citrus and your apple. The harder they are, the better they are in fiber. Your strawberries because of the little seeds, of course most of your vegetables as well. Now when you do prepare your vegetables, you want to either them raw or lightly steamed where they still have a little bit of firmness or crunch. When you get them out of a can, they don't have much firmness and crunch left in them. The ones on the right hand side, your insoluble fibers, those are the ones that protect against your cancer and obesity. Those are things such as your whole grain, your whole wheat, emphasis on the word whole. It's your vegetables and it's also your wheat bran. So it all kind of breaks down into soluble and insoluble. It's very important you get both of them in your diet daily. Well, how much fiber do we need a day? 25 to 35 grams per day, as research shows, for just protection and prevention. Now most Americans only get right at 11 grams on an average. If they're lucky though. And that of course brings on our risk and the rise in our country of colon cancer, heart disease, obesity, diabetes, you name it, all diet and lifestyle related diseases because we're not getting our God-made foods in its most natural form as possible. And in fact, we're getting more of what I call the dashboard diet, where we're eating on the go from fast food restaurants such as this burger and fries. This easily adds up to over 1,000 calories. You add a Coke to it, on up to 1,400 to 1,500 calories. It's quite a bit. And there's very little fiber in any of this. In fact, there's very little nutrition in any of it as well. Okay, bear with me here for a second as we kind of go through the body and why the fiber works, why it's so important in our body. It goes down into our stomach. This is actually where it starts to mix in with our stomach digestive enzymes. And then it's moved on into our gut, the major part of our gut, which is the small intestines. Here it actually binds with fats and cholesterols. The soluble fiber does. It entraps them. And that helps to actually slow their absorption into the body, if any at all. Of course, then it moves on through the large intestines. And the insoluble fiber and the psyllium actually move through the large intestines and they promote regularity. So you have less chance of becoming constipated at that time. And believe it or not, most Americans are chronically constipated a majority of the time. So that helps it actually to move on through the colon. It keeps the gut clean and healthy. And as you see there, if you can, to the far left, where the fat and cholesterol and the sugars are, those little hair-like structures, you want to keep them very healthy. And they can actually, the fat, the cholesterols, and the sugars can actually promote poor digestive health. So keeping the fiber intake high helps to promote that health, to prevent damage from taking place. Fiber is part of the carbohydrate. So when you're looking at your food label, you want to look at your total carbohydrates, then underneath it, try to shoot for high fiber products and very, very little sugar. So the higher the fiber, the better it is. Now there are a ton of grains mentioned in the Bible. Here are just some different grains that we are exposed to today. Your amaranth actually holds a little more. Now this is how many grams per 1/4 of a cup uncooked. It always seems to double in size. But amaranth is more than 4 grams. Your barley is 8 grams. Your brown rice, and this is brown, not your white. Your brown has about 2 grams. White rice has very little at all. Your buckwheat has a little over 4. Your chia, such as your chia seeds, has way more than 12, quite a bit. Your corn has about 3. Your flax has about 11 grams. Your kamut has a little over 4, and so does your millet. Your oat groats has a little over than 4. Your oatmeal has about 2. Quinoa about 3. Your rye has about 6 to 7. Your sorghum has about 3. Your spelt a little over 4, maybe 5. And your wild rice has right around 2 to 2.5 grams. And this is all per 1/4 cup of uncooked. So we move from fiber to water. As you increase your fiber, it is also very important you increase your water. If you don't, there will be some problems with constipation. Now, water is one of the key elements for weight loss and very essential for your body. Oftentimes, thirst is mistaken for hunger. So next time you think you're hungry, go grab up something to drink instead, some good old water. Now, many health experts actually agree that dehydration is one of the underlying causes of most of our illnesses. Did you know when you have diabetes that your blood can become really thick and sluggish? We don't drink enough water at all. So, when there is actually insufficient water, every bodily function suffers. It's kind of like taking a grape and shriveling it up into a raisin. That's kind of like, if you can think of it, it's what happens with our organs. They don't function at their best. So long-term water rationing basically leads to premature aging and disease. And the average adult actually loses more than 10 cups of water just about every day. And this is through breathing, perspiring, eliminating waste. Have you ever weighed yourself at night and then weighed yourself in the morning? You lose quite a bit while you're breathing through the night. Plus your body uses up water to function through the night. Dehydration results when we don't replace all that water that's used by our body during the day. Of course, chronic dehydration occurs when small amounts of that water aren't replaced day after day. Researchers actually estimate about 50 to 70% of Americans are chronically dehydrated, and we don't even know it. So where exactly is the water in our body? If you take a look there, our liver should be about 90% water, our brain 85% water, our cells 85% water, our blood 83%, kidneys 83%, heart 79%, lungs 79%, muscle 76%, our spleen 76%, our intestines 76%, our skin 72%, and our bone 35%. So if you're not drinking enough water, how do you expect these organs to function the way they need to function? Okay, let's just kind of cover the 12 common symptoms of dehydration. Let's see if you're dehydrated. Are you having problems with constipation? When you're dehydrated, the colon actually removes more water than normal in order to provide fluid for other critical parts of the body. Are you tired all the time? Normally, fatigue will hit you around 2 o'clock in the afternoon if you're not drinking enough water. It is the single source of energy in the human body, so you've got to catch it quick enough. Are you having joint problems? Cartilage is mainly water. Dehydration is going to weaken that cartilage and delay the repair. Are you having digestive disorders? It reduces the secretion of your digestive juices and it actually can lead to acid reflux, ulcers, and gastritis. Are you having problems with asthma or allergies? You know, water evaporates during normal breathing, and when dehydration takes place, the body actually attempts to reduce water loss by reducing airways. Are you having problems with high blood pressure? Blood is about 83% water, so dehydration causes blood to thicken, making it more difficult to pump throughout the body. Cholesterol. Do you have problems with cholesterol? Dehydration causes cellular water loss, so the body actually produces more cholesterol in an attempt to stop cells from losing water. Now here's the big one, number 8, weight gain. Dehydration actually causes the body to store toxins in fat cells. That's where you get that cellulite or that hill damage as I call it. The body will not release fat unless it is adequately hydrated to safely remove those toxins. So definitely increase that. Skin disorders. If you have any type of skin disorder, that's your largest organ of elimination. Liver, kidney, bladder problems. Dehydration increases the concentration of toxins that these organs must eliminate on a daily basis. How about lack of mental focus or concentration? The brain is about 95% water, so dehydration can significantly impair your brain and nerve cell function. This includes the loss of memory and your concentration. Premature aging. Who wants to do that? Dehydration accelerates the visible effects of aging skin as well as a withering and the wrinkle effect on the internal organs. Now I need to tell you a little story. I teach a Why Wait Me program here in Searcy, and there was a group of teachers who actually did the program together as a support group. One of them didn't really need to lose that much weight, and she wasn't all gung-ho about it. She was just doing it just to be supportive of her friends. And it was a social thing to do, I guess, for her. Well, she only did one thing, and that was to increase her water. She didn't change much of her diet. She increased her water. Of all the women in there, she is the one that lost the most inches and the most weight on the scale because she drank enough water in the day to flush out the toxins, get the body going, and the immune system built up so the organs functioned as they needed to function and her hormones were produced just like they needed to be produced. So, water is the huge, huge key for weight loss. Don't deprive yourself. That's one of the big things I always ask people when they're at a plateau. How much water are you drinking? So that comes to mind. How much should we drink? You should drink half your body weight in ounces of water every day. So if you weigh 150 pounds, you need 75 ounces of water a day. If you weigh 200 pounds, you need 100 ounces of water a day. That's on an average. Now if you're out sweating a lot, you're definitely going to need a lot more. Now some sources of water would be like your tea and flavored water with stevia only. Or you can marinate your water by having lemonade and rosemary or any type of herbs marinating in your water overnight in a big old gallon jug, and you'll have a whole gallon of flavored infused water that you can drink all day long. Now do limit the caffeine. Try to limit your caffeine to no more than 2 cups of brewed coffee a day. Caffeine is a diuretic. Makes you get rid of water. So double up on your water cup, even more if you just consumed a cup of caffeine. The sleep. There are many, many symptoms of sleep deprivation. One, you have an inability to handle your stress. You're going to have poor memory, an inability to concentrate, an increased appetite. You ever had those long trips and you want to pull over and just chew on sunflower seeds or the popcorn or whatever else you can get your hands on? Possibly even some Mountain Dew or coffee that's loaded up with sugar to keep you awake. There's also vision problems, poor decision making, diminished motor type skills. Basically, that's what you use when you're riding. Lots of problems there. You also have some medical problems, mood swings. There's lots of problems that you have with sleep deprivation. As you see in your book there's a picture of the human body, and it has all kinds of different reasons why you definitely need to have extra sleep. Research study shows you need at least 7 hours of sleep. Some research says 8. Now, there's a few studies I want to cover with you that kind of goes into some detail what they have discovered when you are dealing with your weight and sleep and your body trying to regenerate itself. Early studies have actually linked lack of sleep to both colorectal and aggressive breast cancers. Also, multiple studies have suggested that there's a relationship between your chronic sleep deprivation and increased obesity risk. And research has also linked short-term sleep deprivation with a propensity to load up on bigger portion sizes, a preference for high-calorie, high-carb foods, and a greater likelihood of choosing unhealthy foods while you're grocery shopping. That same study also said that after a week of sleeping less than 6 hours per night, it changed over 700 genes in the person's body, which brings upon obesity risk jumps, your stroke risk quadruples, risk of some cancers increase, diabetes risk goes up, heart disease risk increases, sperm count decreases, risk of death goes up. And that's all after a while. Now, after one night, you are hungrier and you're apt to eat more. You're more likely to have an accident. You're not looking your best or your most approachable. You're more likely to catch a cold. You're losing brain tissue, and you're more likely to get emotional. Therefore, you're also going to be less focused and having some memory problems. And here's another study with a graph. And basically, the results showed that adults who slept less than 6 hours had the highest rate of obesity, and the adults who slept 7 to 8 hours had the lowest rate of obesity. Also, the findings presented here suggested that the U.S. adults who usually slept less than 6 hours were more than likely than the adults who slept 7 to 8 hours to engage in certain health risk behaviors. Now, this is the ones who slept less than 6 hours, such as cigarette smoking, having 5 or more drinks a day, engaging in a non-leisure time physical activity or in no leisure time physical activity, and being obese. And in many cases, the adults who usually slept 9 hours or more were also at an increased risk of engaging in these unhealthy behaviors. Of course, there's more studies being done on that. So really, the main goal is to get 7 to 8 hours of sleep so your body can rejuvenate. Okay, one last little diagram here on sleep. Let's start with the brain. 1, you don't have the attention span and you cannot think clearly. The memory's gone. So I pray I'm not on the road when you're behind the wheel, because your reaction time will not be very quick. Your thymus gland, which actually helps to produce and regulate some of your hormones, it's going to be affected. It's not going to have its chance to recoup and regenerate through the night. Your stomach, actually shows there that your hours of sleep, as the lower it goes, the higher your stomach pangs get. So that's when you're out on the road driving, you're trying to do everything you can to stay awake. Not good. Your body needs the rest. Your pancreas, which produces your insulin, which helps to control those blood sugars, if you don't have sufficient sleep, then that's going to bring on diabetes earlier in life because it's going to wear out your pancreas. Your heart, the blood pressure actually tends to go up when you don't have sufficient sleep there. Fatty layers tend to increase because the metabolism tends to drop. Your joints, where the synovial fluids don't get a chance to actually regenerate and produce through the night, and therefore your muscles, if you've exercised, are going to be very tired and fatigued, and you're not going to be able to regenerate those muscles so that it'll help you out for your next exercise. I have a personal general rule of thumb. If I don't get my 7 hours of sleep, I will not go exercise. In fact, I'm just going to take it easy for the day because I'm not going to put any extra strain on my body trying to make it stay awake and feeding it with a ton of caffeine, which is going to overwork my heart even more and stress out my adrenal gland and all the other glands in my body. So 7 hours of sleep is a good sufficient goal to shoot for. And again, some research shows 8. All right, that about wraps up our water, fiber, and our sleep for this week. Do turn to your daily reflections and go over your barriers and hurdles, choosing 1 to 3 more to start working on, but continue working on the previous ones as well. Make sure you do your daily food diary. Again, research shows that's where you're going to get the most success when you put it down in black and white. Look into your water, your sleep, and sufficient healthy calories every day. Also, are you tuning into your emotions or your feelings? Are you handing them over to the Lord? Because that's what the enemy wants us to do, is hang on to them and not give it to him. What is your power punch scripture for the week? And what is your prayer for this week? You know, that power punch scripture is on my mirror every time I get up in the morning. So post it wherever it's best for you. Next week, I've noticed there's actually a little bit of a typo there. It says chapter 4 in your book. It should be chapter 7, the feast. And that's about Daniel and comfort foods and taking just that one bite. You guys have a blessed week.